Welcome to the Extraordinary Health Podcast. We're here with your host, Dr. Paul Bekkum. My name is Alli A. We also have Alli B
Hello.
and Liz here today.
Hello.
And today, since it's that time of the year, we're going to be talking a little bit about functional medicine and seasonal allergies and how they relate to one another. So, it's springtime. There's pollen in the air. There's dust in the air. Mold, mildew, all that fun stuff. So how do we go about mitigating some of those effects? Let's have Dr. Paul start us off.
Well, probably we'll just start off about, functional medicine in general here. Because, traditionally what are people going to do? They're going to do more, I would call it reactive medicine. Because you're going to wait till you have something going on. All of a sudden your sinuses just get really bothered by, things that are in the air here right now, this time in the spring. Can happen in the fall as well. But if you can do things more on a preventative or proactive measure, that's where functional medicine is going to fit in. And we're also going to look at it, holistically and how that's even affecting other areas of your life and not just focusing in on, hey, you have nasal drainage here, you have itchy eyes, and getting you specific things for each symptom that you have going on. We're going to okay, why are you having this going on here? And what can we maybe do to help either reduce or completely eliminate, the symptoms that you're having? So, I guess if we want to look at it from a household standpoint, so like in your environment, how can you literally remove some of this stuff? It's obviously look at changing your furnace filter, in your house. If you really have bad allergies and stuff like that, you might need to spend that, a little bit of extra money there to get, some of those furnace filters that are going to filter out, more of those pollens and dusts and molds that might be in the air at this time of year that are causing you some of the symptoms. So that's one thing you can do. Obviously, you're going to probably have to keep the house kind of shut up during that period of time just because, you don't want to be letting anything in that's going to be triggering those symptoms. Other things you can do is obviously, even once you get to work or something like that, make sure you're probably keeping your workspace, if at all possible, free of things. You might have to buy, even a little air purifier for your workspace if that's needed, or you can do that. But I think if you get off into, and I don't like to use kind of cookbook approaches to supplements for people here, but you can get off into then some of the things you personally can do. Obviously avoid different foods that might even trigger allergies at the same time too, because you don't want to have airborne allergies causing you issues at the same time. You might have a food sensitivity going on or a food allergy. Now you just get your immune system just really revved up, and you're really going to have even more problems then too. So supplement wise, again, most people, the simplest things are vitamin C, and vitamin C is very safe to take. Like even Linus Pauling, who even first came out and discussed this, he even was taking 10,000 milligrams a day of vitamin C. I'm not recommending that for everyone because if you get up that level and you do it too fast, you can end up with some bad side effects from it there. But I think most people, you can go up to probably about that 3,000 milligrams a day, especially if you know that you do have seasonal allergies, to use it more on a preventative scale here to help your body's immune system be able to respond to the allergens.
Yeah, because I use just those emergency packets that dissolve in water. I think those are, what are they, 3,000 or 5,000 milligrams?
I don't, right offhand, I don't.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Usually I think they're a little bit lower than that there. They're probably not up around that range probably in the 500 to 1,000 range there. Usually they're going to have even some other herbs or something like that possibly mixed in there as well that are, naturally going to help, dry out probably the mucosa in your nose and all that sort of stuff. So
it's 1,000 milligrams.
Yeah, like
Thanks,
500
Google.
to 1,000.
Thanks, Google.
I don't know if I've seen too many things that get up over 1,000, really.
Yeah, I always heard that getting more than 1,000 a day was you're just kind of wasting it at that point. Is that not true?
Well, not if your immune system's having to fight something off here and you want to kind of prevent things. I mean, here's an example of an immune system thing. They have had AIDS patients in the hospital where they've literally given them up to 99,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day, and they haven't had any side effects because their immune systems were so suppressed due
Jeez,
to
interesting.
AIDS. But everybody's different. It's a water soluble vitamin, so you're literally not going to you shouldn't have any toxicity issues. Although, like I just mentioned before, I'll have people start off maybe at about 3,000 a day, and if they're still having symptoms, they can slowly add 1,000 a day, up to the point where you feel like you've gotten, some symptom relief there. But literally, what will end up happening if you get to a toxicity type point with vitamin C, not that it's causing problems there, but it's going to be bowel toxicity is probably the best way to describe it. You're going to have diarrhea to the point where you need to go, and you need to go now.
Ooh.
If somebody's in the restroom, you're kicking them out. Get out of here now. I need to go. So that's where you want to slowly work it up. You don't want to have a situation where you're causing issues like that. So if you slowly bump it up that 1,000 milligrams a day, you're not really going to have a problem. And most people can start off at about 3,000 milligrams a day and not have a problem at all. But it might be something that you might want to take all the way through the whole season then, to make sure that you keep things, good as far as your immune system goes, because your body's going to be fighting off all these things, especially if you have some allergies or just immune responses to those different pollens, molds, bacteria, even just the viruses that kind of get kicked up again this time of year. I mean, living in North Dakota, the snow's been on the ground for a long time. There's a lot of mold now that's, underneath that snow. And then the winds kick up, and next thing you know, boom, you have just your body's trying to fight that stuff off. So
I don't think I'd ever heard or even seen snow mold before until this year. Now it's all over our backyard.
it's pretty prevalent this year. We just had tons of snow.
Yeah.
And I think previous years, obviously don't have as much snow. There's not enough moisture around there to have as big of a problem. But this year, with all the moisture, yeah, it's probably going to be a little bit worse. I've seen people coming in. I know I've had a little bit of sensitivity myself here where it's like, oh, yep, I can definitely tell I've been outside, walking around in the yard or going out for a walk and having a little bit of sinus type problems. In the past, I probably would have, I would even start to sound like Barry White. My voice would get so bad just because of how my sinuses got affected by just all the mold, mostly is where I have sensitivities to myself here. People can have the same thing though happen in the fall as well, where you get pollens and different things like that kicked up, especially around harvest time around here. You can see the dust in the air even, and just if it gets dry out and it gets windy, that stuff's going everywhere. So
That's what sucks about like allergy season, especially like in the spring, because you've been cooped up all winter. All you want to do is like be outside and do things outside, and there's a lot going on
yeah,
outside.
I was just thinking about that today. I was like, I should really take my dogs for a walk after I get off work today. And then I was like, I'm allergic to, well, not allergic to, but I have, sensitive reactions to mold in the air right now, the dust, the pollen. And fun fact, I'm also allergic to dogs. So let me just go take my allergies on my allergy walk after work today.
great.
Oh
Let's
my
have some fun
goodness.
here.
But what I do, so being that I have 2 dogs and I'm allergic to dogs, I obviously I medicate, but anti-inflammatory foods help so much. I can actually go some days without medicating, as long as my nutrition is on point. So we should touch on that maybe.
Yeah.
You can. There's different foods that can be very, very helpful. And I always think of, people, especially even with, an immune response, even things like cancer. Foods that can be helpful to them are some of the cruciferous vegetables, like broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, things of that nature that just have really good antioxidant properties And that's just a big thing in just helping to protect your body from things like allergies, even all the way to things like cancer. I mean, just making sure you're eating that anti-inflammatory type diet. You get into when they start to think of grape seeds and stuff like that. Some people, if they wish, they could have that, glass of wine. They can maybe go up to 2 glasses of wine, depending on, the size of a person. But you don't want to
3 or
overdo anything
4,
here.
no.
Yeah.
Get your wine in.
People need to make sure they're measuring appropriately here. I had 1 glass of wine, and I've seen a person literally pour a whole bottle of wine into a glass. So the glass was that big. So
That's my kind of glass.
I was just going to say, that sounds
You
like the
said
perfect
glass.
size glass.
But yeah, there's tons of other, fruits and vegetables that can be helpful. Some of them that we just had even put out in our, latest newsletter here. If you've gotten that, you get onions. Again, they just have some sulfur bonded chemicals in them that can help fight off, different things like viral infections and stuff like that. Natural antibiotic type properties to it as well. A lot of the berries, get into raspberries, strawberries, blackberries, again, are loaded with antioxidants, especially the little seeds that are in them are the things that can be super helpful there. Some of the citrus fruits, again, when you get into the vitamin C properties and all that sort of stuff can be very, very helpful in fighting the stuff off. So you can just be changing your diet and helping your body respond to some of the different immune responses out there. Like stinging nettle leaves. I mean, those are a big help. More to help dry out your sinuses. So you can get those and take those in a capsule form if you wish, but you can also get it in a tea form. That can be very helpful again, and just drying out the mucosa in your mouth. Obviously, you're going to get from some of the steam. It's going to go up into your sinuses and all that sort of stuff as well. But that could be a very, very helpful thing this time of year, just to keep your sinuses kind of less swollen, and especially you're going to get exposed to this. You have a job that's outside or something like that, or, especially coming up here once everything kind of dries out and you got to get out there and clean your lawn up or something like that. You might want to be loading up on different things like this just to kind of help out and make sure that you have a fun time in the yard and you don't end up having huge sinus issues after getting everything all cleaned up there. So
Yeah, some people say if you use like honey that's been made like locally with all the natural pollen, that can also help help with anti-inflammatory effects as well. So you could add that to your tea.
yeah, because you get like the bees are kind of breaking down some of the different pollens and all that sort of stuff. So it's kind of like getting immunized a little bit, somewhat crudely, but I mean, you're getting exposed to some of the things that might cause you sinus problems or whatever in those, again, spring or fall. Usually thinking of pollens mostly here, so a lot of that might be more towards the later summer into the fall here. And yeah, honeys can be a really helpful thing, especially if you get it from your local area. That's kind of the key thing.
I actually just saw a really interesting documentary piece on honey and its sources. And a lot of, the mass-produced honey you're going to get, it's still natural honey, but it's from a monocrop type of area. So it's one crop and it's the one type of pollen. And that's not...
Clover honey or something
right,
like that.
and it's not as healthy for you. There was just a study done in Paris, France, and it was actually noted that honey that came from within the city limits of Paris was better than the monocrop honey around the area, because it was from so many different types of, pollinating flowers and things. So,
and a kind of interesting fact about honey is that it can last a long time. I think I can't even remember exactly where I read it, but they had found honey in like one of the pyramids or one of the tombs in Egypt there that was still
did
good.
not spoil.
Oh, it's
So
still good.
thousands of years, yes. It's
Bees are
lasted.
amazing. Be kind to your bees. Be kind to your local bees. Don't kill them.
Get some of
Help
that.
them out.
Plant some flowers so
Yeah,
that they
some
can,
wildflower bundle or something of natural flowers.
As long as they don't try to sting me, I'm good. I like the bees.
Usually honeybees aren't going to be the things that are going to
No.
be stinging
Yeah,
you.
they're the fat little fluffy ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those,
they're the cute
those are
ones.
the nice ones.
That just
Yeah.
kind of bop around.
Just stay away from the mud wasps. Those things
Yeah.
are nasty.
Ugh, yeah. Those ones deserve a fly swatter.
Yep. Coming up from the ground.
So, what would a functional medicine appointment be like if someone was coming in with like severe seasonal allergies? What could they expect?
I mean, typically just about every functional medicine type consultation that we do, they're going to fill out a questionnaire just to see what other systems of their body are affected, so that we can make sure that we're developing an appropriate treatment plan, for each patient. And depending on how severe things are in the areas, obviously, if it's your sinuses or something like that are scoring really high, we're going to see what are the other things around it there that are scoring high as well. If it just happens to be, specifically, sinus related or allergy related, we can probably just get into some different supplements or some targeted labs if needed, just to determine what is going to help you the best. Otherwise, if you're starting to look like you're having issues in other areas, then we might want to dig into that a little bit deeper. But that's something that's just completely individualized between each person that comes into the office. Because you just can't just, like I say, kind of cookbook it and like, oh, here's some of this. That's going to take care of this and you should be good. Well, like most people are going to find that that's probably not going to be a good solution for them. People have run into problems with that in the past. I mean, people go into a medical clinic and they're going to want antibiotics. Well, you don't have an infection, and actually the response that you're getting inside of your body to the allergies is a healthy response. Your body's trying to get rid of it any way it possibly can. You might be sneezing, you might have a whole bunch of mucus or phlegm or something like that, but that's your body's response to protect you from that external environment. So antibiotics aren't going to help you with that at all. And let's say it's a viral infection. Antibiotics don't help either, because antibiotics only work with bacteria. And I guess you can go back and look at different viruses that have happened over the past here, and none of that is going to be helped by an antibiotic there. You need to have something that's going to target it, and that's where a lot of people just got into a lot of the different antioxidant type things. Quercetin, vitamin C, zinc's helpful, vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin D, and a lot of these, we can run some lab tests and just see exactly where you're at. Some of them have very specific markers. Some of them are things that'll show up that will indicate that you're low in those, and we can obviously get you on a supplement regimen to help bring those levels back up. And we're going to look at making sure that you're in an optimal level there, not just in the big wide range of normal there, because obviously you're still having symptoms, and even if you still look like you're in that normal range, it might be high or low, or different ratios might be off, and we're looking at all of that there to make sure that you're in an optimal range. And that way your body should be pretty much ready to handle anything that kind of comes on, especially in the future. We can give you things to get over what you're going on now, but let's make sure that long term in the future, you know how to deal with this, and you can pretty much handle it by yourself.
We just want to set you up for success individually.
Our whole goal here is to help you finally feel good and reach your full potential, and by helping you even find things that can be preventative, that's going to help you not even reach your full potential, but stay at your full potential once you're there, so that whatever kind of comes at you, your body's going to be able to respond with a healthy response and keep itself functioning normally here. So more and more, even medical physicians and nurses and osteopaths and even dentists are turning to functional medicine, because they realize that there's a big connection in between how your body is functioning and looking at it from a holistic perspective to, instead of just dealing with the symptoms. I mean, it's kind of short-sighted. I mean, I can get into different cases that we have in the office here, but a lot of the medications that these people are taking are just for symptoms, and if they take them long enough, those medications don't work after a while. And the medications weren't meant to cure anything or to even fix anything there. They were just there to help reduce the symptoms. And, that might be something, you might want to start looking at with your own medical physician. If you're on a bunch of medications, like, what are these medications that I'm taking here? Do I really need to take? If this one was for a certain symptom or something like that, it might be a good thing to just sit down and just go through all of those medications, and probably with an internal medicine doctor, so they can have a good idea of everything that's going on and determine with them maybe the ones that, yep, you need to stay on these, and here's the ones that you can maybe start to slowly move away from, just so that you're allowing your body to function, closer to its normal status and not have anything going on that you're going to need to continue taking medications just to cover up the symptoms. So.
And a lot of times one medication causes another symptom, so you take another medication to mitigate that symptom, and then so on and so forth. So if we can get on top of what is causing those original symptoms, then you're going to be set up for more success in the long run.
I mean, I've had a patient in the past here. I sat down with her. I mean, she needed to come in and get treatment from us, but she said she just didn't have enough money. I mean, at the time she was spending almost all of her Social Security check on medications.
That breaks my heart.
And I told her, I said, you might want to just sit down. She's like, I think I only need to take this one here, because she went through the whole scenario like we just kind of talked about here. And I'm like, well, go in, sit down, talk with somebody. And, it took her a few weeks to get into somebody. And after she came back, she's like, you know what? They went through all my medications, and all I got to take is my high blood pressure medication. And which was like dollars instead of hundreds of dollars, almost, over $1,000 I think she was spending on medications a month. And she's like, oh my goodness, that makes a huge difference. I mean, from her probably not being able to buy groceries or barely being able to buy groceries to, oh my goodness, I actually feel like I'm
Not to mention
have
her
some
outlook.
freedom.
Her outlook
Oh.
is probably so much better too. Yeah.
And just all the side effects she had from the medications that she was on too.
Mm-hmm.
So, but everybody's different, and that's why I have to look at everybody from an individual basis here. And hey, I mean, if you think you have something going on, that you want to have us take a look at here, if it's not something that we can help you take care of, or if it's some medications, we can maybe tell you, hey, maybe you want to go in and talk with somebody and see if you can just relook at everything that you have going on, and hopefully get you on something that's going to help you out. That's not going to either cost you money, or all these side effects that could be coming from these medications might be even causing you some of the symptoms that you have going on. So
Yeah. And if we can't help you, we'll point you in the right direction for those that can. So
Yep.
when in doubt, just give us a call, shoot us an email. We can help you out, answer some questions, and you're always welcome to come in for a free consultation. That is always on the table. So thanks again for listening today. And
don't let springtime drive you into the house, but
but live your full potential instead.
yes.